let's talk a little bit about what is in our closets. Let's play a fun little game called In or Out, and we're going to talk about 3 retail names that I know the 3 of us all have plenty of exposure to. Nike, Lulu, and Deckers. Let's start with Nike, and you take it any direction you want. Brad, I'll start with you. Nike,
oh boy,
are we in or out?
I'm still in.
Okay.
And are we talking in my closet, or are we talking?
However you want to interpret it. However
right.
you want to interpret it. The
So
stock, the logo, anything.
Yeah, the iconic swoosh. Are you done with it?
This year's Olympic uniforms.
Yeah, so I think for Nike, there are a few things that are alarms for some consumers, some investors out there even. And we'll get to the dunks that you're seeing on the screen, because that's a large portion of it. You know, we've been speaking quarter after quarter, especially with Adrian Yee of Barclays, about what needs to happen at Nike, and I wrote up a story earlier this year that still holds true from Adrian and our conversation, talking about they need more innovation. Mm-hmm. This company needs more innovation. You think about the number of brands that are doing really well at taking market share on the apparel side, purely because they're able to tap into audience bases that listen to Nike, but also listen to them over platforms like social media. They see all their friends wearing a Gymshark. They see all their friends wearing ALO or ALO. I don't even know how we're pronouncing it. Great. So I was 0 for 2.
Fiore.
Yeah, Fiore. So all of these new players have entered into the space, challenged the behemoths that Nike, Adidas, Lululemon even, and I know we'll get to them, that they are, and ultimately put pressure on them to say, okay, now you have to out-innovate these new smaller players that are either more ESG minded, that are perhaps even more creative in how they're marketing, and go after that same consumer, and on a pricing perspective, figure out a way to make sure that as consumers are looking at this discretionary purchase, that they're either going to buy into a Jordan shoe that they bought back in '96, and once again here in 2024, or if they're going to wait for something else that's actually worth the $200.
Taz?
I'm very simple. I'm Richard Nixon out. I'm peacing out of Nike.
Out.
I'm out on Nike, and my thesis is very simple. One, I think CEO John Donahoe has done a terrible job. And I think it's his time to announce a successor. There has been some chatter that you will get the next CEO of Nike coming up within the next year, as should happen. I think he's disappointed investors for the past 4 quarters in terms of results and guidance. The street does not like to see this. And I think John has held onto this job for too long. Number 2, China. I think the inventory levels in China remain too high. The sales results and operating margins in China remain under pressure. And these things for a business the size of Nike does not change overnight. Company's probably looking at 2-3 more challenging quarters in China before they course correct. So until I see some form of who the successor is for the CEO role at Nike and better results at China, I can't be in this name.
Just a stat real quick. Toss up those Panda Dunks once again here, because I got one.
You're going to say in. You're just going to say in just because you're in.
I want to talk about my own footwear, but Brad, continue.
#1 selling sneaker on GOAT in Flight Club. #1 most wanted shoe on GOAT for the 2nd straight year in a row last year in 2023. Average profit margin when it's sold on those platforms, 33%. People were buying into something that came out back in the 80s again, and for higher profit margins, higher markups here. So that's both a gift and a curse.
I want to know, John Donahoe, tell me why my new Nike Maxes are peeling. I want to know. I just got them and they're peeling and they're garbage.
So I did like everybody else, 18, 19, was like, I need sneakers, right? Yeah. It's the cool thing to do. And so I had 4 pairs of ones that I thought were sweet. And I wore a pair to the office like a month ago, and I'm like standing there and I'm looking at my feet. I'm like, what am I doing? I am a father. This is not cool. Like, this is out.
Get a pair of Skechers.
And it just doesn't feel like it, right? Speaking of it, let's talk about Lululemon. We mentioned Fiore before, so I know they are selling footwear, maybe more of an apparel play. Brian Sazi, are you in or out on Lulu?
Staying with Richard Nixon.
This guy's out.
I am piecing out on Lululemon, and this is very, very simple. If you go into Lululemon's latest 10Q, keyword the word conversion. In the most recent quarter, there was something that happened in Lululemon that I have not seen in some time. It's a major red flag. Conversion rates were down. What does that mean? You go to a store, you leave with nothing because their clothes stink. I think this company is having problems with color, fit. They've lost key executive talent. So until I see better conversion rates from Lululemon, usually it takes 2 or 3 quarters to course correct that. I can't be in this name either.
Bradley?
I mean, the competitive advantage for a while you saw that stock rising back couple months ago, and now the retreat that we've seen is because consumers are recognizing that they can get the same fabric at different stores for lower prices, and it's uncreative right now. I mean, it's just colors on clothes.
Yeah, it does feel when I walk into my local Lululemon, of course I have a local, that it's kind of the same thing.
I can
just
see
sort
you
of
wearing
reskinned. Now, I will say I'm still in. I'm still in on Lulu because
Why?
the clothes do hold up a lot better
Great clothes.
than other brands that I've owned.
Great clothes.
And for my needs, which is basically feeling not like a working stiff like I'm seated right now, it always meets my needs. And I think the durability for my closet has played out over time. And maybe this is the problem for the stock. Me, a boring dad who's like, I just kind of want the same thing. It is still kind of the same thing. So this is not great. That's why the stock's down 40%. Not great for investors, not great for the story, but as a core customer, I'm still in. I'm not really shopping around for alternatives like an Alo or like a Vuori, even though both those stores are now just down the mall aisle from.
I know we got to get to Home Renee Miles. I was sitting around at the barbecue yesterday, a bunch of 50-plus-year-old dads. They're all talking about their new Skechers shoes. You got to get, they're the slip-ons. They have the cushioning.
Yeah.
About $45 get you into these.
Yeah.
It could be time.
My father wears Skechers, so
they're really
you
good.
won't be finding me.
They're really comfortable.
You know what else my father wears? He wears Hoka's. So let's talk about Deckers Outdoors. Deckers Outdoors. Really, the story here is Hoka. The changes that have happened in the technical running footwear space of the last 10 years, I would love to do a whole show on. Brian, are we in or out on Hoka's? I know you had Ons on the other day. Where are we at with the big guys?
I am
chunky boys at Hoka.
I am also out on Hoka. He
doesn't like anything.
Hoka, the
What do you
stop
wear?
button.
What's he in on?
Look,
He's wearing dress shoes. That's the problem.
all the growth
Yeah.
rate. I
Cole Haan is
like
what
the
he's in on.
shoes. I like the UGG story, like all those things.
Yeah.
I am concerned just from a pure stock perspective.
It has been a monster.
And the growth rates have started to slow. Even for Hoka, this was a brand a year ago growing at about 100% year over year.
Yep.
Now it's down to about 30, 40%
they are
growth.
everywhere.
When you're a growth stock and your growth is slowing, usually not a great setup.
I'm in on Deckers for a different reason, though, for Uggs. Uggs, for some reason, continue to be like the thing that...
Do you have Uggs?
I don't, but I know too many people that do in this day and age, and I just can't figure it out, honestly. Even
They're so soft. Oh, the men's slippers, Brad?
The slippers are great.
They're so just, the fur.
It's
Is it
not-
fur? Is it fur?
It's yeah.
Calf, like, what is that?
I don't know,
Oh, it just
Sherpa?
soothes your foot so nice. It's just so nice. Oh,
Yeah, I
love
mean,
it.
so yeah, it could be alpaca for all I know. Like at the end of the day, I just
Whatever
know
it
I
is,
see a
it
lot
could
of
be
people
zebra.
wearing them. Yeah, so for some reason they were popular back when I was in middle school, and everybody was just like, okay, we're gonna make that cool again. Gen Z is really doing a number on us these
All right,
days.
so I would say on balance here, it feels like some of the bigger public names in the athletic apparel space. We didn't talk about On, which is sort of the one we didn't, in Adidas. It feels like we were mostly out.
I'm
Mostly on
I'm
balance.
concerned that I now see on the
Yeah.
feet of older folks and uncool people. That was usually a telltale sign.
Hey, you know who just bought?
Look,
you know who just bought Ons?
just-
this guy.
No!
All right, the guy.
I didn't.
Well,
I can't see
no,
him as an
this
On
is
guy.
the worst part. There's one model they have, and I've had a few pair. I get like one pair a year, and I had to refresh.
Huh, okay.
But it's
the Cloud Monsters?
No, it's the Cloud Nova.
Yeah.
It's Cloud Nova.
They
It's a
make great
casual
shoes.
shoe.
we're down that quickly.
I'm just
that you
worried.
need
Like
to
I'm
get 'em
seeing
once
them
a year.
everywhere now.
They are not the most durable shoes.
No, they're
That's
not.
what I've heard.
No,
They are
no.
not
That's
the most
the issue
durable
that I
shoes.
have.
The shoelaces, no good.
So-
No good.
They don't
Alrighty.
crease at the right spot.